Joel Renner is the VP of Partnerships for MeetYourClass, and he's going to talk with us about something you might already be doing, but how you can formalize it and create an infrastructure for storytelling. Welcome to Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager. I'm Jenny Lee Fowler, award-winning social media professional, author, and podcast host, and a recognized voice across the social media marketing industry. Social media managers are navigating the wild, ever-changing world of higher ed communications, and I'm here to share the real stories and lessons behind the posts. Each episode explores the challenges, strategies, and untold moments that come with running social media accounts in today's digital landscape. Let's get into it. Joel, thank you so much for making time for us on the podcast.
Hey, it's great to be here, Jenny, and looking forward to a great conversation.
Yeah, so before we dive in, can you tell us more about what you currently do for MeetYourClass?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the vice president of partnerships. And so that means I spend most of my time working with colleges and universities that are thinking about what their brand looks like, how to connect with students, how to create engaging content, and then making sure that our current partners are getting sort of real value from the relationships.
Okay. Amazing. So is it like all new acquisition kind of? Is that what?
Yeah, a lot of it's finding new folks that really need support in the higher ed space. And Meet Your Class has like two connected products. So we work with enrollment teams, and we have a product called Enroll that helps admitted students find and meet each other in the community through Instagram and the Meet Your Class platform, but then also throws that social intent data back to sort of the admissions teams to help them understand what that looks like. And then we also have Reach, which is our social media management platform that's actually launching right now. And that is the first social media management platform that's built for higher ed specifically, giving you sort of someone that really cares about higher ed.
Oh, well, very cool. That's exciting. So I hope all goes well.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to ask you about, which is why I invited you on the podcast, is that as social media managers, we're constantly having to create content and think about what sort of, stories we want to tell. And I am really interested in the fact that you teach people how to set up a storytelling framework.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that is?
I tend to think of it as storytelling network on campus. There is a framework associated with it, and we might talk about that later, but I think the most important thing is a storytelling network is the people infrastructure that can help a social media team consistently develop and discover stories across an institution, right? Like most campuses, there's never a shortage of stories. On any given day. Sure. There's all kinds of stuff going on around campus, right? And the challenge is that the social media manager can't be in the athletics facility and in the student orgs and at alumni event that's in another city and right? And so the network matters, because if you don't have that network, then you don't have people to say, hey, this should be something that is told, in the larger space.
Okay, the picture is starting to clarify for me. So how is this different from just like regular relationship building?
I think regular relationship building can be over coffee. It's like, hey, what do you do? Here's what I do. And you build trust, but you're not really building that with a purpose other than, hey, I know Jenny. She works on the central marketing team.
Yeah.
And so when you build out a storytelling network, there's a purpose. And that purpose can change based on the type of person that you have. So I think like the big difference here, like think about it this way. So I used to work in a building and the geography department was in the back, right? There's a difference between, I know the person in the geography department really well, and that person in the geography department knows that I'm looking for stories that might be of interest, so that when a student finds something or when there's a cool project, that they should share it.
Okay. Okay. So I love this, the concept of if you don't have a team, like say you're a one person social media manager,
Yeah.
like you can kind of build your team around you. So this is a similar concept, right? So like you might know me
Yeah.
as we've had coffee, but to also know me well enough to say, I think Jenny will take her camera down to the lobby and shoot that event going on or take some pictures of that event going on really quickly is a whole different ask, right?
Yeah.
And is that sort of what we're getting at?
Yeah, completely. I mean, so I think about the network as you build it out. Usually there's like 4, sometimes 5 roles. You can kind of play with it. It depends on like your role on campus as well, but you got to have champions, right? Leadership across campus that cares, that will remove some barriers. So you do have to network with some of those folks and say, "Hey, what are your key initiatives and how can I help enhance or make those have a bigger audience," right? Like people
Okay.
care about that. Also, they can encourage a participation, right? So
Okay.
someone that says, "Hey, you hear of something, share it with Jenny." Next are the connectors. And I actually find that most of the communicators on campus are in that connector group. Like they know what's happening. They can introduce folks to the right people. But there's also contributors,
Okay.
right? Who can provide ideas and expertise or videos and photographs. I made good relationships with people that took photos across campus and would just say, "Hey, share like your 2 best from the latest event." Or, "Hey, did you do a video of late that there's some B-roll that's kind of cool," right? And in that way, I saved myself time, B-roll that might or might not get used later. And then I think the last piece is like, who are those trusted partners that you can create a little story team that you can bounce ideas off of or develop and evaluate how those things go. Even if you're a team of one, one of the biggest things you can do is just make sure that people you close the loop. "Hey, that was great. It didn't fit for this month, but I'm trying to find a place for it in this content piece." You don't want it to feel transactional, and that's where you have to develop trust and close that loop in real ways as you go through things.
Yeah, another way to do that is to always follow up with engagement
Yeah.
and data. You can also say, "Hey, that story that you helped me with
Yep.
got us this many likes or this many shares and it worked really well for our audience." And I find that people appreciate that and they will be more willing to help in the future because they know it was effective or how they helped.
I also think that there's this thing where it's like, so many people hear like social media content and they get this idea that they have to have perfect photos or that things need to be like they need to do
Oh,
a full video or that means like they have permission to speak for the institution and holy crap, I don't want to do that.
right.
And
And it's
so
not that big of a lift
it's not that
usually.
big of a lift.
Yeah.
I also think that students sometimes don't believe like the ordinary moments are valuable, and yet we are constantly asking them for what a day in the life looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's what students want to see. I mean, we see on our own platform, the most clicked links are campus life and orgs
Yeah.
and like financial aid. They literally like it's money second. They're like, what is it like to be at this school? And so when you can share like, "Hey, you study together in a certain spot and we like it because of this," right? When I want to study by myself, I do it a different way, right? That's what helps people understand that lived experience, that authentic experience, right? And so I think that there's so often that it's not there. But I also think we don't always ask the right questions of folks. Some people do have a network, right? And they've started, but they don't consistently ask like, "Who did you meet this week that impressed you?" Right? And somebody goes, "Oh my gosh, this student is doing this and their resume looks better than mine already. And here's what they did." Or what's happening in your area campus that no one ever sees, right? An example came up at Case Social Media Management Community. Thomas Brodus of Mississippi State, I think they won an Emmy for a video around a horse training class.
Huh.
It's a small little thing. People
Right.
learning how to manage horses and groom horses and take care of horses. And it was awesome. Like I'm watching
Yeah.
this video going like, I care. All of a sudden I care. I
Right.
think it's the same for like, there's always an audience. So when you think about like TikTok, there's like book talk and insect talk and like
Right.
all these things. So you got somebody that knows insects or knows alligators or knows like cool animals and they just love it. Is it
Right.
going to land with everyone? No. But can you find your people? Right.
Right.
Examples like
Right.
MIT, right? MIT has a very specific type of audience.
Yes, we do. That's
And
right.
so for that audience, certain things are going to be like, that is awesome, right?
Right.
Whereas some other schools would be like, that's cool, but I mean, like, it's not that cool.
Right. I agree. I think that you should lean into what makes you you. If you're going to try to be all things to everyone, then really you're not going to be anything to anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like you really have to find your people, which is really important. Okay, so how do you maintain this sort of infrastructure or this network like over time? Because
Yeah.
sometimes like you find someone and then because you haven't connected with that person in the Department of Engineering for so
Yep.
long, then you reach out and all of a sudden you find out that they're not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
So how do you keep this infrastructure fresh?
As you identify folks at those different levels, right? And you can identify your own types of folks like leadership across the board that can help you move the needle and connectors, etc. As you identify those people, put them on a communication plan just like you would for anyone else. Okay? So operationally as a communicator, it's like, hey, what am I doing next? When am I doing this? And make it so that, hey, for leadership, they probably don't need to meet all the time, right? Every 9 months, every 8, 9 months, sending them a note, making sure that you're up to speed, sending them updates to any of the operational stuff, highlighting a story that started at them or even didn't, but made it down the chain and then, hey, some great outcomes, right? So that's where you have that larger group. For the connectors, I've seen everyone go from meetings on a quarterly basis or every semester, or sometimes every semester, but spring, fall, summer, right? So add a summer meeting in there as well and use that a little differently. For folks that are like actually the operational communicators on campus, seen something where you set up a monthly meeting, right? And it's training and an opportunity to connect. I know University of Michigan does something like this. Like, I know that you probably have something like that at MIT as well.
Yeah.
So like operationally, you are creating a structure that allows you to continue that communication and make sure that if they move on, that should translate to the next person and you're going to have to build the relationship, but operationally it's still there.
This episode is brought to you by Bolt, the AI agent engine for higher education built by Element 451. Here's the thing about higher ed right now. Your team doesn't have a software problem. They have a bandwidth problem. Prospects go unanswered, students don't get the support they need, and your best people are burning out trying to close the gap manually. Bolt fixes that. It deploys specialized AI agents into the systems you already run, whether that's Element 451, Salesforce, Slate, or anything else, to actually do the work that's been falling through the cracks. Answering student questions, evaluating applications, surfacing risk signals, engaging prospects, around the clock, nights, weekends, spring break included. It's not a chatbot bolted onto your CRM. It's not another generic AI layer. It's purpose-built for the higher ed student lifecycle with SKUs for admissions, marketing, and student success. If you've been wondering how AI actually shows up and does the work instead of just answering questions about it, that's Bolt. Learn more at element451.com. So what I'm hearing, you're doing cross-institutional meetings. And so, we do have a social media community of practice where we meet once a month and we have a Slack group. So you're saying sort of like making the process more official, right? Is
Yeah.
that
And I think
okay?
too, like we're humans. We love rhythm. We love habit.
Okay.
And so if they know that a meeting's coming up with Jenny and like, oh, I got something to share, and it's not like time sensitive, but I can't wait to share this. Like they know something's upcoming, right?
Okay.
And this is where they can start collecting things for you. And you can even start thinking ahead over time, right? So sometimes they're like, oh, you just missed this.
Okay.
Okay. That's a missed opportunity, but the biggest missed opportunity is not saying, is that annual? Is that something that happens all the time? Because I can make a note and next year get ahead of it.
And put
Right.
it on the calendar.
Put it on the content calendar for next year.
And what's cool about it too is you don't have to wait for like a director or anyone else to initiate this process, right?
No.
You can be a specialist or just a communicator in a department and say, hey, as a department communicator or, as department communicators, why don't we just meet once a month and share what we're all doing? I love that idea. And I don't know why it's so revolutionary to me because like we do have that community of practice, but anyone could do that at any level.
I feel like when you have those communities of practice, here's another question that you don't always ask, and that is like, what's your favorite story you've seen lately?
Or
And then
what have you
why?
been inspired by?
Yeah, but why? Like,
Yeah.
why was it something that was so important? And I think that those are the kinds of questions where it's like someone else in the group goes, light bulb, we actually do something, or we could adapt that in this way, or,
Uh-huh.
and I know the trend going around right now is like a Netflix documentary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Have you
yeah, yeah,
seen that
yeah.
trend where they sit down
Yes.
and it's got
Yes.
and for a little while after I think the Chicago Bulls thing came out with Michael Jordan, it was like, and I took that personally,
Okay.
right? That trend came. And so
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's like, why do those things hit? And so then why would something hit for your audience? What are those triggers? What has worked in the past?
So if someone is new to an organization or to position, how do you recommend they get started in building like a network like this?
Yeah, I usually talk people through it like this. So the campus storytelling network is literally like campus. So CAMPUS. So connect with the right people, right?
Okay.
Build a network of people who already know what is happening in their areas and have strong relationships with the community. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
Align around what makes stories like help the network recognize what the social team's listening for and looking for.
Okay.
Now you got to make that participation easy, right? So creating like a clear pathway for submitting, or a monthly or bi-monthly or every other month meeting for submitting, and then partner with them through the process, so you're treating them as contributors to something. I think one of the crazy things that I learned as I set up like multiple blogs in the higher ed space, but also just on campus, is when somebody gets like a writing or a credit on something, they are way more likely to like put time into it.
Contribute. It's so true.
And
Like
so
a credit goes a long way to give
yeah,
people
so
credit. Yeah.
if you ever say to like a student, "Hey, I'd love you to write a blog about your study process because I've heard that like you do great work and da da da," all of a sudden they're like, "I got this. Like I'm a
Yeah.
content creator, right?" But
Yes. Yeah.
everyone has that feeling, and on
Yeah.
campus there's a bunch of content creators. I don't know if you know, but almost every professor's written a book,
Yeah.
right? Almost everyone has written something. And so you have a group of people that want to share what they're doing, give them opportunities, and then you can identify, okay, that hit. Maybe we make that into a video, or maybe we showcase something new. So as I think about it, it's like this, right? For like a 30-day like starting plan, right? Identify 10 people, 5 to 10 people who like know what's happening before central comms does. So like somebody that's in a meeting that goes, "Hey, da da da," and you're like, "Crap, what the heck?" Meet with them briefly, right? And listen. So you ask,
Is
what's
that
that?
part of the acronym? We've got like you started with campus,
Yep.
right? What was it? It was like
Yeah, so it's connect, align,
align, meet.
make participation easy, partner
Okay.
through the process, use the story and close the loop, and then sustain the network.
And then sustain. That's
Right?
yeah,
So it's
that's
it's a
good.
relationship system, not a contact list. And I think that's what happens. I know for a fact that the PR side of Central Comms almost always treats it like a contact list. Like, hey, we got to get to this person
Yeah.
and this person and this person, and let this person know, and then stop this, right?
Right.
Instead of, hey, let me talk to Jenny and let's see if this is the right people to da, and then we'll go from there, right? So you have that relationship piece.
I love that reframe. You called it's a relationship network and not a contact list.
Yeah, completely.
I really like
Yeah.
that reframe.
I
Yeah.
think the other piece here is when you ask every person to submit one potential story, and then you publish one, but as a group you identify them. Hey, thanks for meeting with me. I went forward with this one, have plans for some others, but you recognize that like you actually closed the loop on something. And then saying, hey, here's the next time that we're going to meet, or here's the next time we're there. I'll give you an example. When I was on campus, early on, I managed a large student system, SIS system. And we were centralized, but usage was decentralized.
Okay.
And I always thought to myself, well, why is that? Like the system's for everyone. Their students are in the system. They have free access to it. And I went and talked to them and they said, well, the central just bought it. No one ever came and told me. No one onboarded me with like how it might look. So I just simply had meetings with all of the leaders and then with their number twos across campus and brought everyone into one system. Well, what happened was student usage went from like 5,000 students to 50,000 students,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Yeah.
And active usage shot up to like, it was like 30,000 students a semester doing more than three things in the
Okay.
system, right? All because I just went and talked to them and said, hey, what are your concerns? And then alleviated some of it and went through it. And so I think that I did some of that on the storytelling side of things as well. Like, you can trust me with your story, and here's how we go about these things. But the flip side of that is you sometimes have to measure the success of those relationships and that network, and then figure out for yourself, is this community of practice still working? What
Yeah.
are we missing? Where are our blind spots? And then propose some of that, but also ask that group. Like,
Right.
what have we
Right.
missed? What have we
Yeah.
missed? At the beginning, it's like, even for a team of one, you're like, I can't do this, Joel. Like, holy crap, it's just too much stuff. But in the end, it means that you get more stories and content in a
Right.
timely manner. And so setting it up is huge.
Right. I definitely think that getting it off the ground always takes the most effort, but once it's set up and has a natural cadence, I think there's so much value to be had from it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Joel, is there something else that I haven't asked or that we should that you
Yeah.
wanted to mention about this network?
One thing that we really haven't talked about a lot today is organic social. And stories should almost feel like they were found organically. And a lot of this is speaking to that,
100%. Yeah,
right?
I would agree.
And so you can publish 2 stories or 4 stories a month that are pretty in depth and solid, and they're about completely different topics. And I think it showcases your culture and the vibe that your campus gives off better than anything else. For me, that's the biggest gap for leadership, to have a better understanding that organic social is your brand, and your brand shouldn't always be polished.
Yes. I mean, that's 100% right.
And so, like, even while I was at EAB, I ran workshops all the time on helping folks differentiate their institution, and their mission and vision statements are almost all the same, right? If I
Right.
put 5 up on screen, they wouldn't always be
It's
able to call
so
out theirs.
true. Yeah,
Or they'd have an
everyone's
argument about, like, oh, it's number 1 for sure. It's number 3. And
everyone's trying to make the world a better place,
yeah,
right?
we're all trying to
Yeah.
make it a better place. So organic social and your social media stories and the authenticity that your students can see, that's your biggest differentiator. And if your brand doesn't include that, you're missing out on just so much. But also, like, it's the kind of content that AI likes to find, right? Somebody answering the question of, is that food any good? Or do they listen to students? Or how is this program working? And there's a student somewhere that got on a video and said, nope. There's also students that are saying, yeah, it was amazing. It gave me this opportunity.
Right, for that answer engine optimization.
Yeah.
But but to bring this conversation full circle, I think, when you began, you were saying, we can't be in all the places all the time, and we don't know what everything is happening in all of those places, right? And so this just helps you gain awareness. It helps you get partners. It helps you collaborate. And again, I love that what you said. It's a relationship network and not a contact list.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Well, Joel, I have one last question to ask you.
All right.
What is your confession?
All right. So I've just spent a lot of time talking about frameworks and networks. And my confession is that I spent most of my career believing that, like, better systems could break down, like, institutional silos. And I worked in technology and digital strategy, advised institutions and enrollment and student success. Like, I love thinking about student success and how to, like, figure out what their journey looks like. And I work for a technology company, so there's a lot of irony, but systems rarely break down silos by themselves.
Yeah.
In fact, it's almost impossible.
I was worried that you were gonna go there, but
Relationships do. Relationships do.
yeah.
And so a form never
Amazing.
makes somebody trust you. It just doesn't. A content calendar doesn't help you discover a story. Like, no, if no one thinks to invite you to a room that the thing's happening in, right? And a platform can't make students more comfortable about feeling their sharing their experiences. Like,
Yeah.
it all comes back to like the people side of it.
People. I love this. I love your confession. Yeah. So if the people aren't willing, then it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've higher ed. I started this, like, I started by saying like higher ed doesn't have a shortage of stories,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But it does have a relationship and story sourcing problem. I can't tell you. So I worked centrally for a while, and I've worked with sort of main accounts. I have managed department and school of accounts, and central marketing always felt like somebody that was in the way. And so I would talk to others and say like, hey, you have to build a relationship, because we've made social media into a publishing function
Yeah.
instead of a relationship function.
and
I'm
it's
like,
not.
even
That's
our
right.
platform doesn't say like, post this relationship. It says publish, right? And so while technology can make like participation easier, and it preserves institutional knowledge and like help network at scale, the network has to be built on trust. Like, you
Yeah.
have to like believe in that. So I don't believe that technology is what ultimately breaks down silos. It has to be people.
Yeah. Across and up and down,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Everywhere.
That's a great, that's a good, that's a good one. That's a good insight. Thank you.
For sure.
And what can I answer for you? So office hours, do you have a
Yeah.
professional question that you would like
I
me
would
to?
love, like, as you think about someone that starts out as a social media manager, what separates someone that just is a social media manager to someone that's being like a social media strategist, right? So like, someone
Yeah.
that is in it every day, like they're posting every day, and sometimes they catch things and they're just like in it, but they get into a rhythm where like, okay, what am I posting today? Is it good? To like, how do I craft a message
Yeah.
and build community and think about some of these larger things so that social media doesn't get lost in the sauce?
Oh gosh, I could like talk about this for a long time, but the managing side is the doing, and then the strategy side is like the thinking and the vision. And how do you do that? It's looking at the data, it's looking at the engagements, it's looking at what is resonating with your audience, and taking what you learned and having that inform future content decisions, having that inform future strategy. How do you execute on the content? It's not just doing the editing and
Yeah.
then pressing
I'm
send.
gonna I'm gonna now
Right.
put you on the spot. I got one more question for you. I have struggled with this because I just know so many people in higher ed care so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
How do you decide to stop doing something?
When it's no longer effective, people in higher ed have a hard time doing this. But you have to know what your goal is. Like, what is the reason why you're doing the thing? And if it's not helping you achieve that goal anymore, it's time to put it away and find a better way to support that goal, or to execute on a vision, right? Or to pivot on a strategy.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't just do things to do things. We're all busy, right?
I don't disagree with you. I will say it's so tough sometimes, because sometimes it's like, hey, we've always done this thing. You come across it all the time. You have somebody that started out as a manager and moved to strategist and now is director of marketing and comms. And that growth gives them new things, but they also started something back in the day. And it worked for maybe quite some time, but it doesn't work for forever. And
Right. This is not effective anymore. And I always tell people, don't make it personal and lead with the data.
Yeah.
What is the data telling you?
yeah,
So I love those questions, Joel. I've learned so much from having conversations with you, and I really, really appreciate your time.
oh, hey, it's always awesome to catch up, and love talking to folks that just really kind of care and think about the process. And I know that there's so much burnout, and there's so many people that find it sometimes hard to bring energy when they're coming up against obstacles. And the one thing that the higher ed social community and everyone that's sort of working through this space does is always there to be a helping hand and a support and give somebody ideas or fresh perspective. And you're a major part of that as a community across higher ed social. And so thank you for all that you're doing to support everybody.
Thanks for listening to Confessions of a Higher Ed Social Media Manager. This show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to higher ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow, so be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.